have heard about these performance testing things like whatever the things we do, complete life cycle. Like earlier, I mean, any idea about the performance testing, how we used to do that? Because every application, whatever the development testing we do, and then after that there is a process we called as a, like how the Sweta has explained, the security testing things. So similarly, we used to do a load test. So it is now very important because you might have heard about that, like many applications are getting crashed in the production. So it is really, it's very difficult to handle. It's very cost effective also. So in order to save that, we used to do the performance testing. And here, like we are going to talk about I'm just giving the overview, but today's session I'm going to talk about like how we integrate with the Jenkins and the Git. Because earlier there are many tools are there, some are freeware, some are in the licensed one. So you might have heard about the JMeter. I mean, developers are also using. How many have used the JMeter here?
How many JMeter? Like, huh? How many are Java programmers?
My Java programming unit, for the after the unit testing, they might have used the JMeter for sure.
For JMeter, use across, not just only for Java.
Yeah.
How many are doing performance testing? How many have heard about performance testing?
So
you
you
सब
any,
hobby project बना दो क्या?
so you might any idea of like whatever the terms we use, like response time, throughput.
Yes.
So these all things. Yeah. So this like we used to mostly automate the things to get a response time or to check the load. So not the real, because see, we used to do we can say we used to simulate the users. Because like see, it is not like we are doing the any manual testing. We can test it just for one or two users. We used to test it for a bulk of users. Based on that, even thousand of users we used to test it. So what we'll do, there are tools like JMeter, LoadRunner, NeoLoad. There are plenty of tools are there. So using those tools, we used to automate our application flow based on the protocols. We used to design the scripts, and then we execute the scripts, and finally we'll see the results and we'll see that how it is happening. So earlier days we used to use a LoadRunner. Most of the like seen the JMeter having some security concerns of open source. So it's still like apart from the banking projects, like people are using that, and we are getting it like the response time and all those things. So earlier, like if you'll go for the, this is for scripting, just for automating the scripts. But if you execute for that also, like there is a, we called a controller is required. The funda is same. Like in the JMeter or new load or load runner, you will get a controller system. So JMeter we call it as a master slave system. So there, like again, used to keep a record of all the scripts. Where you'll keep, let's say, there are many releases happen. In this release, this year happened many releases. Where will store all these scripts? So there are some places is required, right? So in the load runner or the performance center, you can see that like there will be enterprise version of that. So where we used to store the scripts and our results and everything. But that is not freeware. That is based on the license. We have to purchase a license. So nowadays, if we are going to any customer, so they are blindly saying like, no, we want a open source, or we want something like customized things. So that's what like here then the concept of like Git came. So in the Git and all, we can store the all the scripts. So I think this a GitHub is a source, like all the domains they having any branches, so we can store the different domains projects, everything we can store it over there. So this was like this came the what do you say, the GitHub it and Jenkins also, you might have heard about that. So Jenkins, what is Jenkins, any idea? Like have you? Yeah. So that for even development also, like how the developer used to push their code, right? So that like you are working from here, some other person is working somewhere else, finally you will merge the code. Same thing is for the performance testing also. So what we used to do, that we will make a scripts divide, and like what we'll do, we'll do the pull and push request. So we'll see that in our upcoming slides. I'll show that. So we'll make the scripts and we'll make a final, like from the release branch to the master branch, and that master branch will be there in there, and that master branch we will configure final with the Jenkins. Okay. So and like nowadays what is happening, if we are executing whatever the tools we are using it, but if we can integrate JMeter, whatever the tools is there, we can integrate it with the Jenkins. So with the help of Jenkins nowadays, like if earlier like night also, like the people used to say that there is something is going on, like we have to do the execution. So it is like very difficult for us to do that. So like night, if I'll finish our working hours, and then the people will say they expect that they want to do the load test, or they did some deployment, they wanted to check that. So it is like very difficult. So what we did, like nowadays, it's the concept came like what the Jenkins funda. So like how we are doing it for development, same thing like we are using the deployment. So what we'll do, we'll just schedule a job over there, and we'll just around what time or how many times, even if 100 times also if you want to execute, we can execute it. So it make our life easier nowadays. So this is like I'm going to talk about today, like how we'll integrate the load runner with the Jenkins and Git. Okay. So here you can see that like these are the topics I'm going to cover. Like this I gave the overview, introduction of Jenkins, loader integration overview with Git, Jenkins field configuration, pipeline jobs, how we'll do that. So just we'll click the jobs, we'll schedule it over there around what time you want to execute. And you might have heard about like this performance testing scripts and everything. We used to be you heard about the environment, how it happened. Anybody can tell that the environment how we'll manage in the project wise environment, different environment, like starting production environment, SIT, any idea on that? Okay.
Must be staging or development. ये तो मालूम है ना different environments. हाँ?
Okay, then if you know that it's fine, yeah. So the lower environment we called as a CIT, SIT. There we used to do the manual testing after development. When the unit testing is done, then when it used to come for the doing the manual testing. So that we called as a lower environments. Okay, and performance used to do before that the production. So we called as a NFT environment, non-functional testing. So load testing actually we call not a function, we call it as a non-functional testing. So both what Sweta has explained, that security and this one, it comes under as a part of a non-functional testing. It's not a functional one. Okay, so here these are the topics I'm going to cover, like Jenkins integration. We'll see that. So here Jenkins, I already explained that with the help of the Jenkins, we can schedule a job, and we can just the load runner the pipeline what we created in the master branch. So we can map it, so that what will happen based on the scheduler, we can execute the our test and we can run it, schedule it. So based on the requirement we can do. Okay, so I'm moving to the next one here. So you can see the Jenkins integration is like how it is, every build is there with the Maven and all, continuous testing, Selenium also, like you might have heard about that. For that also they used to set it through the Jenkins only. So similarly for the load runner also used to do that. So, and this is a slide like we are going to talk about that load and integration overview with the Git. So the Git how will create that repository. So that is the one is the personal, for the personal, other one is the enterprise one. So most of the industries, like whatever I have worked so far, like they having their own repository. So in that repository we used to create a branch and we used to do that mapping. Okay. So and same thing here again, the same concept will come, like how the Sweta has explained, for their security testing the YAML file is there, so where all the configurations details will be there. Here also same, where the your performance center path will be there, the scripts path and everything, the scheduler what and the related parameters files, all the details will be there in the YAML file. And just we'll have to click on the run the job and we have to review the results. So finally we can share the results to the stakeholders. So yeah, this is the configuring the Jenkins to the OpenShift platform. So that we have as I told, like we have to log in. So this I have shown here as a with the admin login, and with the Jenkins URLs. Like you hit the Jenkins URLs, you have to log in for a particular domain, and we'll have the credentials and we'll give out credentials. So, okay, so this is the screen how it looks like. So I, since there's a like I cannot share my projects thing, so like I have just created, and that this is the things I have shared. So like similarly it will be there. So Jenkins login will be there, and you can do the one sign in, and then you'll get all the options here: project relationship, manage Jenkins, file things, and resources, and all those things will be there. So here like your pipeline will be there. So the based on the pipeline you can schedule jobs and you can run it. So for that you need a Jenkins plugin. So you have to install the Jenkins plugin also over there. Okay. So see how, and here like just giving as a like a Jenkins performance a sample. Similarly you can create that. So here you can see these are two projects are there: freestyle projects, Maven project, pipeline. So whatever like you want to create that, you can create it as per a project requirement. Okay. So this is the Jenkins configuration field is there. And Jenkins input depend upon the business cases. So like they are, based on the different business cases, we will do that. Like let's say general source code management, build triggers, build environment. The environment I have just now I talked about that. So each environment will be there for we have to give the build and we have to post build actions. We have to take care of that. So, any questions so far? So moving to the next one. So here see that description and all will give like how we'll set up the process for the business process. give a checkbox like based on the fields we give it and the project description and all. And advanced also like based on the settings we can give that. So this is based on the business cases how we want to schedule our job or we want to make the customize our jobs. Okay. And this is the Jenkins input depends upon the business case. Same thing like here the Git is there. You can see the manuals and this is the build triggers are there. So you can see that a build periodically also you can set it, or there will be based on that scheduler, so that there will be some command like you have to give it like 24 hours. How many times you can do that? Just we have to change that. Everything will be there. So automatically it will no need of doing any manual intervention. What will happen? Just we click the job, or automatically you schedule that. By that time it will create. Like let's say just live example, I'm saying that in our most of the projects like we schedule it for the every matlab, I mean after a development, once the testing is done, like they wanted to see how it is happening, because clients are nowadays very concerned about that, how the load, if with the load perspective it is able to sustain or not, because most how the response time is getting nowadays, because see the response time is a very important thing in term of performance testing, because the response time like if it is, even if you feel like if the page is loading very slow, no one, everybody will shout on that. So this is a very important thing. So this all things like they want to observe every day, like 2 or 3 times they want to observe in each environment how it is happening. So this is the best thing. Like nowadays, I can say that each and every performance test job with the help of Jenkins and Git, it's become very easy. Otherwise, it was very difficult. Night used to get a call. Okay, we have to run a job. So manually, we have to go and we have to from the performance center. There is a controller where from there we used to run our test. So we used to do that earlier, those concepts. But with the help of now the Git and the Jenkins, it's like our life becomes so easy and very and now it is everything is happening like in a fashion of the Scrum, right? So like in, I cannot say like 10 years before it was a huge difference. We used to go trigger it manually and come. So it was very difficult process earlier. So this now it's become so easy. So here the build an option, you can see that it will come and using the load and enterprise version. So this the thing, and we can give it as a different settings from the micro. And earlier the I can say that this load runner was the part of the, anybody having the idea of the part which product it was earlier or now. So earlier it was a part of HP. So now it is supporting the micro focus. So if having any difficulties also like integration or something, so like we can, because we if we purchase the enterprise version, we are having the license. Even the 5 or license they will give free of cost. So with that also we can do. Have you heard about the VTS, virtual table space?
No.
Okay, so virtual table space, how we do that? Like, if there is some testing, that MQ testing, we used to do that. So in that, like in a fraction of seconds, we have to do that. Uh, it, data we have to transfer it from one script to another scripts. So it was like very difficult. We used to store it earlier in the files, okay, in Excels. We have to export it and we have to store it, and then we have to call that in other scripts. So now with the help of virtual table space, like it has become very easy. What will happen in a fraction of second, like MQs and all, where the data used to generated in a fraction of seconds, all these things we are using the virtual table space. So these all are the micro focus concepts. So if having any problem or integration with Jenkins or GitHub, so definitely we having a support ticket also, like we can create it, and that micro focus teams are ready. So but for any like what do you say, like any abnormal conditions what will faces for those cases, but otherwise it's straightforward. Nowadays everybody is using it. Okay. So and this is the post build action, we will keep it, and we can give the symbols and description was there. If you'll go by Jenkins login, then you can further plug and play with this and all, and will come to know. Okay. And this is the build section. You can see it is it is not that much clear, but yeah, you can plug and play with this. These all settings we have to do. Then finally after logging the, after installing the plugin of that, and then you'll set that once, then your pipeline will be ready, so you can execute the pipeline. So this is the what will happen sometimes is the proxy things, because here the load runner scripts we used to record it based on the proxy. So proxy is a very important. So sometimes because of proxy we'll get a error. So we have to set it the proxy over here. So this problem is general. You definitely will face this if you won't set the proxy. And see, this is the thing how it happened. You can see that trigger the test from the Jenkins. We'll go here and Just we have to give the pipeline. Once it will go, we will get all these last build and everything. You can see that how the test will pass or fail. So if it will pass, it will be the green and all. So here it's fail. So I didn't get that screen. So like it will be the pass and fail last build. You can go to that build particular. You can see in the parameter file how it will happen. And this configure, you can give whatever the configuration you want to give it for that. And even like here, this Jenkins supports for ALM also. Like suppose if you have done some manual testing activities, so that also you can support it. So it supports many things.
So this is just a one-time activity, or every time we
No,
want
one time activity for a particular project, one time activity. And then after that, if you want to do any changes, just you have to go to the configure file and you can change it over there. Or like suppose there is a you like let's say 5 scripts are there for 5 different business scenarios. Okay, so those scripts like we have created, developed the things, the business process. Okay, and then we want to execute that. So for executing all the 5 scripts together, so we call it a scenario. So we have to keep it under the scenario all the 5 scripts, and that scenario will give a let's say load test one, or like a what do you say, the account test, or that transactions set. So these all we call as a scenario. So these things we used to design it in controller. Okay, so there the path will be there. Okay, for the controller or performance center, there will be the path will be there. So the name, like let's say that this is for account one, all the 5 script comes under account scenario. So those account scenario, that what the path will be there, that we used to map it under the configure one. So if you want to change that things, the main change will be there from the settings. I mean, like from the scenario itself, you can change like think time process. What script wise, if you want to change it, parameter file, you want to change it. So these all things we can change it from there, and just the path name based on that, you might have different version of that. So just you have to change it here, the version of the script, the path itself. That's all, or the schedule if you want to change. These 2 things only you need to take care of that, and rest will be same. So it's just one time activity.
Okay, so suppose we have a test where we have some frequency like 10 requests per second, and we want to make it change to 20 requests per second.
Mhm.
We will have to make that change in a file and then run this Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins wise there is nothing. We'll go to that performance center, or called as a controller, 10 seconds it told. So what will that we called as a, like based on that it used to, it is this is a like a what do you say, many inside that concept there are, we called as a workload model.
Okay.
Okay, in the performance system workload model. So in workload model will we called as a, like if you want to run it for 10 user, 20 user, based on the business, what is the requirement for that. So that in the workload model we got that, and like let's say 200 user, 300 user. So based on that, like based on the request, how many that request per second is there, and then we call it as a TPH, a transaction per hour. Okay, so we analyze and will take a business critical time, like a peak hour only will take that. Let's say IRCTC peak time when will happen, holidays and this time.
Tatkal time.
Yeah, so that you know that in production every application they used to monitor. Any idea how they monitor?
Grafana dashboards.
Grafana and any other tools. There are
Cloud
many
Watch.
tools are there, monitoring tools are there. Splunk. Splunk is also there. So always in any most all the applications, definitely there used to be running in the monitoring tools. So based on that, we used to take a like how this TPH come. That in definitely this question like TPH you told na. So that change, that things whatever it will be there, that we have to change in there only as per your question. So we have to change in the scenario itself. That TPH will change the TPH. That's all done. And then anyhow the pipeline is going to be the same thing.
Okay.
So nothing have to change here. Okay, and whatever I was talking about, like I was going deeper into that. Yeah, so things, the scenario, the TPH, and all those things. So yeah, anyhow, I'll explain that for the business, like how they do that. They will take a let's say 1 year, like every month they will use to monitor how the load is coming. So based on that peak load, we used to take that some x or 2x or 3x. Let's say you might and then based on that we used to design this TPH, and then to test it so that in production it should not break. Product नहीं तो फिर production में if it break, then it's no use of doing this performance testing. So that's the thing. And now anybody has heard about the resiliency testing that is coming nowadays, is more frequent. Nowadays most of the customers are using the resiliency testing. Any idea?
No.
Okay. So anybody DevOps concept like Kubernetes pods. So what the pods does.
When there is production, if there is a load, the pods replicate and when the load gets low, the pods destroy themselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So for that, like
So that
nowadays.
is scaling. What is mentioned is scaling. So we have more requests coming through. more throughput, then you will increase the pods.
It
Is
will,
this-
if there is some threshold limit. So if it crossing the threshold limit of that, let's say memory wise, if it is coming that 100%, we set it. So what will happen if it is occupying completely? So automatically, like it will destroy and it will create the new pod. So and that the load will transfer to that pod. So that is coming in the Kubernetes nowadays, Docker and Kubernetes things. So that also we used to do the performance testing. So that part, let's say I will explain the resiliency testing, or that is the concept of the pod. So I'm just explaining. Let's say database, okay. So if you're having two database, okay, one is in a database A and database B, okay. So both load is going both the database, okay. So one database will, but what will happen? Worst case scenario in production, if one database will fail, then what will happen? Then we have to test it, like in second database is moving or not. So what will that, in that particular A database there will be mini apps. Okay, so what we used to do that, we'll down that particular mini apps and see that if request is getting passed in the next one, I mean the B database or not. So that we call as a resiliency testing. So nowadays it's coming. So here what the concept of that, this pod will come, this will take it, then based on that pods and things, like it, is this happening properly or not? It's getting like if it is getting occupied, the pod, it should automatically getting destroyed, another one's getting created, and it is taking the role over there. So these all things come under the resiliency testing. So this everything, like based on the load we can see, and we can down the pods and we can test it. So this will be called as a resiliency testing. So I'm moving to the next one. So this is all about Jenkins. This will trigger that, and you can see that here the results will, how the result console looks like. And you can see the performance center summary in HTML reports used to come. So here automatically the report will come, and here there is a one more feature. If you want to take these reports and all, we can transfer to the what is that stakeholders who are interested for these results and all. So every day it will trigger, and automatically it will send the results to the particular stakeholders every day morning. So no need of asking and following the mail chains. Okay, what is happening and not happening. So it is so automatic with the help of the Jenkins generator.
So how is this connected with resilience? I mean, bringing resilience to this?
Also resiliency testing, because nowadays in performance testing, resiliency testing is also coming in a picture. So I'm saying, as a, I'm just relating with the performance testing, I'm explaining it. It's like how it is happening with the load, like just to give the idea, like how we used to do that.
If I'm looking at resilience testing, be something like, okay, ये network failure हो गया, this is still working, ये database उड़ गया, ये चल रहा है कि नहीं, मतलब it's like us traveling यार, इधर नाका बंदी है,
मतलब दूसरे ट्रेन लगे, देयर इज टू ट्रेन, वन ट्रेन, बट एक बैकअप भी होगा, बगल में दो ही होगा. आपकी योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज करेक्ट ओनली, वन इज गेटिंग डाउन, देन विल अप, और सेकंड विल गेट अप. But for that also we need to test it, na. If in a production it won't get done.
How is that getting reproduced in this? How they are reproducing this kind of effects? Jenkins, or how do you do that?
No, for that, like the same thing, our script and everything will be same. So what will happen once we'll down one pod or one database, okay, and that time will trigger this load test. Okay, and we see that, and in that or like the load test is running, let's say 1 hour load test we have to run it. We started the load test, and meanwhile we make it down. So we having the monitoring tools like App Dynamics or Dynatrace. So in that we'll see that particular trace, like 5 minutes, like application server it is I think 2 minutes, and for database servers it's 5 minutes timing when make it down to make it up. So we can see that load difference, like let's say 500 load we have executed, we can say it becomes 0, then again it will start it getting up. So that in that way, that fashion we are checking it. So just we're triggering the test from here, and we are making the server down, and we are testing it.
And if there's a DDoS attack, वो भी is like a reliability, right?
हाँ, मतलब जो भी हो फेलियर हो, बट DDoS अटैक आई एम नॉट.
Because
हाँ,
ये once a resident database उड़ गया, ये one test है, network down है, वो एक दूसरा test है, user, I mean the DDoS user attack भी, that is also another reliability failure. So is that getting simulated, or is that getting replicating this test?
I mean the user one. I mean, can you please explain in the scenario wise?
So like DDoS is actually users, I mean just multiple users or bogus users रहेगा, but फिर भी, लेकिन you still want it up, right? So how does that test that thing? I mean
that user will test in the load test itself, na?
no load test नहीं है.
It's like वो नेटवर्क पे अपन कंटिन्यूअसली पिंग कर रहे हैं, like अभी फॉर एग्जांपल लाइव एग्जांपल बता दो. If you remember previously,
okay, that all user will came down, it will show that when the server itself will make it down, the user itself it will also go, na, because anyhow we are testing with the virtual users.
okay,
So that itself also checking it over here itself, because they are already connected. The virtual load test is going. We started a load test for say 1 hour. Okay, we started a load and particular period of time. After 20 minutes, we make the server DB server another ASDB server down it. Okay, so all the user who else are connected to the DB server A, all will make it down, right?
Correct.
All will get disconnected. Will start getting out of error or some things. Then again, the thing is that like testing, why we are testing that the load should go to server B, right? Database server B. So
Okay.
and that time policy they will say it will go down or it is going to server B. So these all things, like there are two parts. Like we have to make it down also, and we have to test like there is no load in between that 5 minutes when it has to get up, and then also it should pick it up
Okay, but
from
if I'm putting continuously ping for like maybe half an hour or 1 hour, मेरा database तो पूरा बंद हो गया, मेरा pod ही नहीं चलेगा, तो जब ये actual में जब यूजर यूज कर रहा है,
तो यूजर और वो तो पिंग तो यूजर ही कर रहे हैं ना,
बट वो एक पॉइंट तक लोड लेगा ना,
हम्म
बट वो उसके जगह पे अगर मैं क्या बोलते हैं जो अगर 1 लाख अगर मैं पिंग डाल सकता हूँ, लोड उतना ले सकते, बट उसके जगह पे मैं 10 या 20 करोड़ पिंग कंटिन्यूसली डाल रहा हूँ मुझे।
नहीं
Rate
वो तो हम
limiting
टेस्ट कर रहे हैं ना, वो टीपीएच है ना हमारा डिफाइंड, तो हम एक्स्ट्रा तो नहीं डालेंगे ना, वी हैविंग ऑलरेडी डिफाइंड दिस वन ना, बेस्ड ऑन द बिजनेस थिंग्स एंड ऑल, व्हाट इज द पीक लोड ऑफ द बिजनेस, so that many load only will give it, no? So we won't give, so that we called as your question is right, that we called as a stress testing. Okay.
Okay.
That we will give enough load, more than the things, and we'll try to break the system. Okay. So that we have tested over there, not in the resiliency. So this is the thing, it's clear now. This is the thing.
Excuse me.
हाँ.
So nowadays everything in a cloud. तो वहाँ पे performance testing कैसा होगा, load testing कैसा होगा? Because वहाँ पे production पे auto scaling तो चालू है हमारा,
हाँ.
एक server चालू
हाँ.
है। जब हम local में या PY में SIT में testing करेंगे,
हाँ.
अगर उधर भी हम
पर वो तो क्लाउड से ही आ रहा है ना, URL is going to be the cloud only finally.
प्रोडक्शन का रिप्लिका होगा,
हम्म.
बट जब क्लाउड पे मैं तो लोकल पे समझ गया
सही,
कि
हाँ.
सर्वर है मेरा, 50 रिक्वेस्ट
हाँ.
मेरा सर्वर हैंडल कर सकता है, बट प्रोडक्शन में मेरा ऑटो स्केलिंग चालू है, तो प्रोडक्शन में कैसा टेस्ट करेंगे? बिकॉज वो तो कंटिन्यूअस कभी डाउन ही नहीं होगा ना।
नहीं कैसे नहीं, हाँ प्रोडक्शन में तो डाउन नहीं होगा ना, क्योंकि हमने तो यहाँ पे मेन फंडा तो हमारा कि स्टेजिंग में हम प्री प्रोडक्शन में चेक कर ले, तो इसलिए तो हम डाउन करके चेक कर रहे हैं ना, सारा कुछ उतने लोड पे कर रहे हैं, और तुम मतलब
लोड बैलेंसर पे आ जाएंगे,
हाँ.
लोड टेस्टिंग लोड पे कैसे होगा? नॉर्मल थिंग्स तो सर्वर पे
नहीं तो फिर लोड टेस्टिंग अभी पहले एप्लीकेशन क्या होता था, मोनोलिथिक होता था, अभी क्या है सारा क्लाउड पे है, तो जितना भी जो यूआरएल है, लेट्स से अगर किसी भी एसडीएफसी का यूआरएल ले लो, सारा तो क्लाउड पे है, तो जो यूआरएल है वही तो हम क्लाउड पे टेस्ट कर रहे हैं ना, तो यहाँ पे जो हम स्क्रिप्ट बना रहे हैं ऑटोमेट कर रहे हैं, सारा तो क्लाउड पे ही कर रहे हैं, तो जो हमारा क्लाउड पे ही हो रहा है ना टेस्टिंग,
अलग
पहले
एनवायरनमेंट
तो मोनोलिथिक पूरा आर्किटेक्चर ही मोनोलिथिक था, अभी हमारा आर्किटेक्चर ही क्लाउड पे आ गया है सारा, तो हम तो जो यूआरएल है मेन जो हम रिकॉर्ड करते हैं स्क्रिप्ट, जो भी हम स्क्रिप्ट डेवलप करते हैं, तो वो हम क्लाउड वाला यूआरएल लेते हैं और लोड बैलेंसर का यूआरएल लेते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि हम एक का ले लें, अगर हम लोड बैलेंसर का नहीं लेंगे तो इट्स इश्यू।
अगर लोड बैलेंसर का इसमें वही क्वेश्चन है, अगर लोड बैलेंसर का यूआरएल लोगे तो कौन से सर्वर पे रिक्वेस्ट जा रही है?
हाँ वो हैविंग मॉनिटरिंग टूल, ऐप डायनेमिक्स डायना ट्रेस सारा कुछ है, हम यहाँ से जेंकिन से लोड ट्रिगर किए, ठीक है, स्टार्ट हो गया टेस्ट, उसके बाद हम मॉनिटर भी तो करेंगे ना टेस्ट, सो देयर आर मेनी मॉनिटरिंग टूल्स आर देयर, ऐप डायनेमिक्स डायना ट्रेस, वहाँ हम जाके देखेंगे कि कैसे लोड जा रहा है, कितना जा रहा है, एवरीथिंग वी कैन सी ओवर देयर, वंस विल ट्रिगर दैट, एंड इवन लाइक वी हैविंग अ ओपन शिफ्ट, यू नो अबाउट द ओपन शिफ्ट, there are, if like Azure, there are based on your application, the client used to take the monitoring tools, and with the help of those monitoring tools we can see that how a server is happening, so we can see each and every pod status, we can even see that how many percent you utilize CPU, memory, everything we can see that, even in cloud also, like they have provided a monitoring tools, so everything we can monitor. So yeah, this is the things, and this is Vugen with. So this is, I am explaining it like how we'll do the push and pull. See, once we'll develop that script, okay, and that performance script, we need to keep it as a record, as I told. Currently we are stored, earlier days we used to store it in a performance center. So nowadays we are storing in the Git, okay. Many projects they are using it because it's a free of cost, okay. And like they're having some based on the privacy, you have some cost also involved in that. Okay, so how we'll pull the scripts and how we'll push it to the release branch to the master branch. Okay, so once we'll develop the scripts, and these are the things I'm going to explain it in the in this document. Okay, so see, you can see that here the first thing is that you have to make a git login is required. You will do the git login, and there's one is personal git login, another one is the login with the git enterprise. Okay, so based on that you can take that, and see, this shows as a load runner. Okay, so here you can see there is a get ALM codes will be there, import, and this you can see the commit and all this pull push, these all things will be there. Okay, so once you install this git, so and then after we need a plugin also. You install this git plugin, then you will start getting this options over there. Okay, so then you have to commit, and you have to get a pull request, push request, and from the release branch to move to the master branch. Okay, so here that how it looks like let's do that login and all. So this is the device verification. This is the login process they are saying for the Git one. This is the Git account. Okay, and here you have to create a repository called as a repository. So you can give any name of the repository based on your project. So okay, so here you can see that it's giving the Vugen integration with it. So you can give this repository because this is very important. Based on this repository only, you are going to pull the request and push the final request from there to here, and then from here you can start doing the execution. So see, this is the steps for creating a repository. So see here the code and the screen. You have to see that repository option will come here, so you can get that repository things, and you can copy this repository from here. Okay. And see, import from the remote repository, and then what you have to do, you have to click the local git repository. So you have to click on the local git repository, that will start collecting the local one. Okay. And then the script track script will come. Then you have to give a track script. You see, this is the script like how in the LoadRunner it used to be there. So this we have installed the git, and then from git it's starting pulling and pushing and committing the scripts. So whatever the changes we are doing it like how developer used to do. Same thing as a performance system also used to commit the things, and you have to merge it from the release branch to the master branch.
So do we have
Can
a
you
sample
see?
file of
Everybody
this?
can see that? I mean, you can see it, but what's pointing? Can you see that? Can you expand? Yeah, you have to say up if you can see it.
You want that presentation?
No.
Better? Better, है ना?
Mhm.
Better?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, you have to track the steps. Okay. Yeah, you can track the steps, and then this is for, and then you can see that changes here. You can see the symbol. We'll track it. It will come. There's a plus symbols here. Okay. So everything it will show there.
What language is this? We are writing script in what language?
We are using the tool LoadRunner, and the language is a C Java based on the protocol.
Okay.
We used to understand first like which protocol application is following.
Okay.
So based on protocol, you used to select the language.
So I can write in any language. This is what.
No. There will be LoadRunner like C will be there, Java will be there. Then Java files are required if you are testing Java. If you want to do mobile testing, whatever is in .NET application, so based on C also we can do that.
Okay.
So but most of the languages like C will support for all. Okay. But Java with Java application, Java will support the Jar files and Java functions are will required over there. So now see, you can see that here now after that it will ask me the commit. So once you click on the commit, you have to give the message of the commit here, and then here the this is the action init and end. So we call it a concept in the user. So like any business application, what will happen? Login, business action, and logout. So the login will happen. All the things will be the login related will be the init part. Business process will be the action part, and the logout will be covering the end part. So it is all like whatever the changes will be there, well, we are doing from the local, we are committing it to the release branch. See, the views and integration, we can give our version, and based on the version we can commit it. And after committing, you can see that now the changes. Once you'll commit that, all will become the tick. Earlier the symbol was different. So here now, what will happen? We can import also. Okay, for importing, what we'll do? We went to the Git, right? We created a login in the Git. From the Git, we have copied that URL what I've showed. That URL you have to put it over there. And you have to log in over there here. So what will happen? It will try to import the scripts or the scenario. Scenario also we can do, like the script and scenario, everything we can do. So now that you can see the push changes will be happening, and that all the push changes will click on that. Whatever the scripts see, that will list all over, like whatever the changes you have done, and all the files will list over here. So this is the import one. See here again the same thing is there. The whatever the repository we have created, that repository is very important. We have to give it over here. Even importing. And then we'll import it. So we will import it from the master branch to the local branch also. See that it will take that. And then how we pushed it from our local to the master. Same thing from the master also, we have pull it here itself in our local branch. If you want to do some additional works or some enhancement, we want to do that, we can do that. So this is all about like how we used to do the Git using Git. So nowadays in every performance project, people are using this Git. So because it's easy nowadays, no need of storing that. So this is the one advantage. So now I'm going to again to my slide. This is my last slide. Any question, any doubt so far?
So this LoadRunner is only at the enterprise level. So
We having personal also, we can use a freeware, like five license is free. We can use that. So that's why I gave the concept of the virtual table space, na? Because see, using the 5 user license also we can run it, but we have to do the customization. Okay, so some projects are there, they using the 5 user license also they are doing the execution. So what they are doing, that they are virtually, with the help of the VTS, with the 5 user itself, they are creating that data, and we had with the help of this uh, uh, transfer the scripts with the VTS. VTS used to write it very and read it very fast. So using that, we are using that. So but we need lot of customization for that. It's not straightforward like the people used to work and but it is doable. We can do that still. And see, this is the advantage of Jenkins and LoadRunner integration. See, first is that it's an open source and it's easy to install. Like installation is not much. Even the Micro Focus will support if there any issues or anything comes over there. And it's nowadays performance testing lab, it's become is a huge change. Earlier we used to have to be in the office, we have to trigger it manually, you have to open that. Now just will trigger the with Jenkins jobs, so it will be easy. Okay, and now what will happen, because the time period of performance testing always we are getting very less, because development will take more time, and then after it will come to SIT, then after just in between the production and coming to the SIT, there will be a very very short span of time. That in that period we have to complete the things. So earlier it was like very difficult. We was unable to do, and all things. If any one team is not able to do that on the time, then all blame will come to NFT. So now that this gap has gone completely, this gap has gone with the help of the Jenkins and GitHub.
this run कहाँ होता है बेटा?
That's all. Any questions?
Jenkins resource किसका होता है?
रिसोर्स ऑन प्रेम होता है उसका नाम.
Any doubt? Even silly also doesn't matter.
I think so. There should be a lot of that. It's very important.
So-
Want to bring it to production.
So to do load test we need resources, like so we have to like replicate how many hits we are doing. So all these resources are like it is
Virtual
also-
users. That's the tool only, the LoadRunner JMeter. It will create a virtual user. Let's say one user, okay, we will do the manual testing, but we want to do the 100 user. How we'll do the 100 user? We'll do the same time.
So this
Right.
resource is being provided by Jenkins,
No,
GitHub,
no,
or
no, no, no. This resource is a LoadRunner. What the tool we are using it.
okay.
There are on-prem systems that you use, or do you use some cloud VMs to run your
Depends
load
on the
runners?
project.
Acha.
Nowadays, everything is of Azure. Like we are using the Azure, we'll create a pipeline in Azure itself, and we will integrate with the Jenkins. Okay, or we will like if LoadRunner based on the whatever the customer they are, if they are going for LoadRunner integration will do the Jenkins. We'll do that push pull using GitHub. If they want to do JMeter will do that.
So this resources, like, it has got some cost associated with it. Okay. So LoadRunner doesn't have that part, right? Or we have to pay.
Having because see, if you want see 5 licenses, just they won't give the security and all.
Okay.
You have the some if the let's say the banking or financial projects they want to use that, so the security need required, right? They won't go for the public one.
Got it.
So for that, definitely they will go for the LoadRunner. And like if there is, but still because they are saving a lot of money while doing the what do you say the freeware like JMeter also they're using it. But those are like those where the application is not demands like their security is not required that much. So for those like internal projects like things and all like so those things like and some things like they feel like it's not much security is not required for those they go for the JMeter or they for the just concept of just freeware license they won't use enterprise. So this is all about thank you. If now there is no question then, please.
Is it possible to simulate the resources?
That's what we are doing it now. See,
You're saying that you are checking the loads, right?
load virtual users. Like let's say application is testing for one user. Now with the help of LoadRunner, we are testing it for 100 user, 1000 user.
So you are not testing it on real resources. You are testing
Virtually,
it on virtual
virtually,
resources.
because see, if real user, I mean like real user in the sense like real person we need, no? Like how the AI is doing now, like virtually, correct? Same thing it's simulating. Simulation we are doing it here. So that same thing, whatever the real user will give the what the real user is giving, it is giving the traffic load. So that thing, same thing we are giving it here itself, the load and traffic. So with the help of the tools that scripts, so that we call it as a virtual user. So what? So this is the thing. Yeah, got it. Yeah. So if there is no question, that's all.
Any more questions for this? For Sangeeta?